Thanks for listening to Dog Dish. Before we start, we'd like to say thanks to our sponsors. Porter's Pride is a raw, premium pet food with meats and vegetables locally sourced in the Pacific Northwest. Porter's Pride will ensure freedom from allergies, healthy weight loss, an increase in energy, and a reduction in the amount of stool produced. Find out more, check out Porter's Pride at porterspriderawdiet.com. That's porterspriderawdiet.com. And thanks to Addiction Pet Foods, they offer a complete range of cutting-edge foods that provide the most advanced hyperallergenic nutrition for dogs and cats around the world. Addiction is proud to have innovated the concept of using premium proteins such as free-range venison, salmon, kangaroo, and brushtail. Addiction Pet Foods. We go to the ends of the earth for your pets.
And thank you to our newest sponsor, Manning & Associates, not your typical accounting firm. For the last 13 years, Manning & Associates has supported our local community with general, forensic, and tax accounting to individuals and businesses. Located at the corner of North 26th and Proctor Streets in Tacoma, Manning & Associates takes the stress out of your day-to-day accounting and allows you to sleep better at night. Call them today at 253-752-3920 and mention this ad and get 15% off your 2016 tax preparation. Manning & Associates, not your typical accounting firm.
I'm Deborah Rosen. For the past 15 years, as founder and owner of Good Citizen Dog, I've been helping people to train their dogs using the science of canine behavior. What I'm going to do is help you create peaceful living with your dog.
Hi, I'm Dina. I'm producing Dog Dish with Deborah. I've been training dogs for over 10 years with the Good Citizen philosophy, and together we will help you create peaceful living with your dog.
Hi, Dina.
Hey, Deborah.
How's it going?
It's great today. How are you?
Good. I'm very good. I'm excited about the topic for today's show.
Yes, we're on part 2. And what part 2 are we doing, Deborah? Tell our audience, they're waiting.
I'm about to, Dina. It's taking your dog to public places, part 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we promised them tangibles, really specific information. And here it comes, folks. I know you all want to be able to take your dog out. I know that the way that they behave in public will reflect on you, either positively or negatively. And of course, we all want to be champions for the dog species. So why not have the best behavior possible?
Absolutely. So tell them 1, 2, 3 or ABC. How do we get that to happen?
How do we get that to happen? Well, the first and most important thing is to understand, and I think that basically my way of teaching is to help people understand what happens to dogs when they get out into public places, which is they get super distracted.
Yes, it's shiny keys out there. So right. The wind blows, the leaves rustle, the smells are all picked up
right.
and swirled around.
Their senses are just off the charts. So they're responding to these things and all the stimuli. So if there's a dog across the street, if there's a person with a funny hat, if there are cars moving in different directions that are unusual.
Bicycles or roller skates or kids with their headphones on singing and dancing.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
The entire enchilada.
That's right.
So this potpourri of distraction really creates just havoc in the mind of a dog. And for that reason, I think it's really important to achieve or develop amazing attention and focus. And the rule that I like to tell people, the ones that come through classes and do private training, is attention plus focus equals control. And I let people know that while they'd like to have control in other aspects of their life, control is not generally a human condition that we can attain, except for maybe with your dog.
That's right.
So,
Step one,
you go outside, you get the dog to sit.
That's easy enough. We've been working on sit already.
You think?
Yeah.
Except if it's not a generalized skill, then you're going to have to work on it outside.
Excellent.
It may be something they can do with fewer distractions, but once you get into that highly distracted environment, then they forget how to sit. They really do.
They really do. And they don't mean to forget, folks, but they have so much more on their mind that's way more important than sitting.
The bird,
The bird,
the squirrel,
the wind.
the leaf. Yeah.
Oh, that leaf.
Yeah. So basically, you're going to get the dog to sit. The second the dog sits, you want to pop a treat in their mouth and then wait. And then if the dog is still looking at you, or if you can get the dog to look at you, you're going to make a very distinct sound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like to go beep or bzz. Mm-hmm. And you do it quick, short, and it gives the dog information. And the information that the dog is getting, in this case, what the sound means is a treat is on its way.
Nice. And that's much like a clicker, which we're not huge fans of just because they're a little more cumbersome and a little bit loud. But that signaling is a big, important factor.
I forget clickers, and I just, I don't have an extra hand for a clicker. I never forget my mouth. It's always with me. All right, so we're starting, folks, on our Zen exercises. So basically, this is how it works. The dog is in a sit. As the dog sits, it's angled up and looking at you. It has a better opportunity to look at you. And so the second you see that eye contact come your way, you're making the sound. Now, it means treat's coming, but you don't deliver the treat unless the dog stays focused. You're not going to make the dog wait very long at first. Remember, this is the beginning level of Zen exercises. Once the dog maintains that look for a second or two, you're going to reward it. That is information that the dog is receiving to say, you've been sitting, so you've shown me some impulse control. You're looking up at me and staying focused on me, and now you're going to get your treat.
And what's really great about this particular exercise is that you do get them to pay attention to you, but you also have the opportunity to continue this very simple step. And we're going to leave this podcast at this particular step today in continuing down the line. So give them two other options for the sit to be involved in their walk to help them in situations that might be unruly. And then we'll go to the next step on the next podcast.
That sounds like a great idea. So you now have a dog that's sitting outside in public with distractions. You have a dog that's looking at you and understanding that by looking at you, it gets rewarded. Now what I want you to do is walk toward an individual that's coming toward you on the street and help the dog understand that his or her job in this case, when that person approaches, is to sit.
Excellent. So now they have a purpose and they have something that they can start to generalize to, which is another person who may want to come and say hi.
Right.
Nice.
And I don't know how many of you out there have dogs that like to jump up on people or lick at them or do something else that is perhaps an unwanted behavior by another person or by you. You don't want necessarily to have your dog do these things out in public, but by giving the dog another job or redirecting its behavior, you're giving it an option. And the option is, I want to be out there, I want to greet people and things that are happening, but here's the thing that I need to do. Instead of what I might do otherwise, my new job is to sit.
And you know how we reinforce that with that paycheck? The treats. The treats are the paycheck.
And also a pat on the head.
Sure.
Okay? So, but here's another tip, folks. And we talked about this briefly in our last podcast. As the dog is being patted on the head, which many dogs don't like, it's really counterintuitive for a dog to greet and meet a stranger and have its head patted by that person. By delivering a treat at the same time, you're virtually desensitizing that dog to that pat on the head. You're helping the dog understand and incorporate and habituate to being touched in this way that could be objectionable to a dog on first meeting. You're helping them get used to it or adjust to it by a simple delivery of the treat while it is being patted on the head.
Everything we've done so far through these podcasts, folks, is really to help you to understand the science of canine behavior so that when we have these skills to employ and maybe you missed a small step, when you understand how their brains work, you can pull that step back in next time and do better. And remember, like Deborah always says, each opportunity is an opportunity.
Yeah, right. Yeah, don't complain, train. And folks, I'm going to give you a little bit of the science. So, and it's behavioral science. It's not hard science, but it's pretty clear and it's been researched, and it's incredibly effective. So when you ask a dog to do something, you're basically saying, do this and get a reward, or do this and fail to do it and you won't get anything. After a while, and that actually is operant conditioning. That's Skinner, B.F. Skinner, who followed Pavlov. After a while, you don't even have to ask the dog to sit anymore. It's now making a very clear and distinct association, which is Pavlov. So you've gone from an operant conditioning model to a classical conditioning model just by asking the dog to do it a few times, and now the dog all by itself has learned that when a person approaches me on the street, my job, if I do it well, is to immediately sit down upon approach.
And don't forget, the reason why they know this is their job is for the one thing they really and truly want out of this entire experience, besides probably some love. A lot of dogs like the love. It's the treat. Make it high value.
Yeah, take out the high value, folks. You know, I don't care if it's leftover smoked salmon. Those of us in the Northwest are addicted to smoked salmon. So if you have a little bit of that and it's been in the fridge for a little while and nobody's eaten it, take it out. The dog doesn't care.
Tiny little flakes. They don't need a lot. They can smell it before you took it out of the fridge, so you
Sure.
don't overwhelm them. You don't give them gas, and you don't make them not.
We don't want gas.
We don't want gas. But we also don't want them to stop working because they're full.
Yeah.
So always a slight bit hungry is really the way we should all run, let alone our dogs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And also when you're training, you want a little bit of hunger. You don't want them starving.
No, don't be
that
mean.
makes them edgy.
True that.
But so, folks, we've given you some really tangible techniques and hints about what you can do to gain the kind of control that you want when you take your pet dogs to public places.
That's right.
This has been part 2.
Thanks, Deborah.
Thanks, Dina.
You bet.
For 15 years, Good Citizen Dog has been the premier destination for dog training, dog daycare, dog boarding, and grooming services. Good Citizen uses the most modern, positive, reward-based training techniques. With our 2 locations in Western Washington and across the country, Good Citizen Dog is creating peaceful living with your dog. For more information about services or for franchise information, go to goodcitizendog.com. That's citizen with a Z. Or call 855-936-3649. That's 855-936-3649.